everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, Starseed Astrologer and Spiritual Messenger from SacredSoulEmpowerment.com. Today's date is January 31st, 2018, and I'm here to do just a short soul reflections video for you on the full moon lunar eclipse that we just had just a few hours ago today, and the upcoming new moon solar eclipse that will be on February 15th. And what does all of these energies, the eclipse energies, mean? What's in store for us both personally and as a collective? Also, at the end of this video, I'll give you a short update on my journey, my spiritual journey, and what the energies thus far has meant for me. So let's start out by again looking at the energies of the full moon lunar eclipse, January 31st, 2018. First of all, we started out this year with a full moon. It wasn't an eclipse, but a full moon on January 1st. Now again, with this full moon on January 31st, it's the second full moon in the month of January, which doesn't typically happen. Normally we have one full moon and one new moon every month. So the fact that this is the second full moon of the month means that it's a blue moon. That's what the term blue moon means, is that it's the second full moon of the month. Now, this particular full moon on January 31st is at 11 degrees of Leo. And it is an eclipse. It's actually a total lunar eclipse. So it makes the energy much more powerful. And what full moons do is it brings things to an intensity, right? The full moon grows, or waxes as we call it, and it grows to its fullest extent and potential. And that's powerful enough as it is, but we add the fact that it is a lunar eclipse and a total lunar eclipse, and it really intensifies the energy much more. And then we add the fact that it's a blue moon, the second full moon of the month, and then it's also a super moon. You may have heard the term super moon, meaning that the moon in its orbit around the Earth, it actually travels in like an elliptical orbit as the moon goes round and round the Earth. It's not circular, it's elliptical. So at some points in time, the moon is farthest away from the Earth in its movement around the planet, and at other times it's at its closest because of that elliptical movement. So with the fact that this lunar eclipse that we had January 31st is a super moon, it was at its closest distance to the Earth. And so think about a moon, the moon anyway. We know the moon affects the tides of the ocean. We know that the moon affects people's emotions. We have a full moon, and we know that that intensifies the effects that it has on the planet and on us as a people. We add the fact that it's a super moon, meaning it's closest to the Earth and its revolution around the Earth, and it makes it even more intense, as one would suspect. Then again, the blue moon aspect and the eclipse aspect, this is a rare phenomenon. Not that it's not ever happened on the planet, but it's been many, many, many years since we've had this combination of energies to form this intense of an energy. Now again, we said that this full moon eclipse was at 11 degrees of Leo, and right now the North Node, which is a destiny point in space, it's not a planet, it's a point that signifies destiny and where we're moving as a planet and as a collective. And where it is located in your chart right now at 14 degrees of Leo is showing the course, if you will, the unfolding of events in your life as well, especially if that transiting North Node, which again is at 14 degrees of Leo, which was only 3 degrees away from that total lunar eclipse energy that we just had on the 31st of January. So this is actually, as it's possibly connecting to anything in your chart, or again just where it's located by house in your chart, is going to signify where events may be unfolding. In other words, let's say the North Node is transiting somebody's 4th house, and the 4th house, as some of you might know, rules home and family matters. That means because this full moon lunar eclipse at 11 degrees Leo conjuncting the North Node at 14 degrees Leo could have been setting off things to do with home and family in your life. Or let's say the transiting North Node in a particular person's chart is transiting the 7th house, which rules relationships and partnerships. Again, this nodal placement with the full moon lunar eclipse at 11 degrees Leo, because they're so close together, might be activating some sort of energies surrounding relationship and partnership matters, whether they be of a romantic or a business or even family or friendship level. So again, it's very helpful to know where in your chart the eclipse falls, where the North Node is transiting, because that North Node, as I'm going to talk about here in a minute, is going to, as the North Node travels backwards through the zodiac rather than forwards, it's actually going to go backwards from 14 to 13 to 12 and then finally to 11, which is the eclipse degree, and it's going to set that off. But before that even happens, we have Mars transiting in fire sign Sagittarius, just as the Leo energy of the eclipse is also a fire sign. Mars is going to activate that eclipse point sooner than the North Node will. But I want to start by talking about the fact that a lot of people, as I've been making my posts or doing my videos, people have been emailing or Facebook messaging me and saying that this eclipse has not been, you know, that tough. It's been really easy and it's great, and really, truly, it is great. You know, the eclipse energies are assisting the unfolding of events in your life, the evolution and the spiritual journey that you're taking through life. It's activating that energy. It's activating that process and allowing things to unfold much more quickly. That's what eclipses do. It speeds up the unfolding of events in our lives. And for some of us, that may seem wonderful and abundant and joyous and happy. For other people, it may seem challenging, but remember that for those of you that feel that it's challenging, or there's been challenging events surrounding this eclipse energy, or even, you know, since the beginning of this year as we transitioned into a new universal year energy, really, as we move forward, you know, a lot of us as human beings, we fear change. And because these energies, these astrological energies, these universal energies is assisting us to move towards change, it can be very scary. And that can be in part why some of us might be experiencing challenging situations. For instance, let me go back just, you know, for a moment and recap the idea of me going through the fire situation in my old living situation back in May 2017. Now, I could have, and I probably did at the time, and a lot of you that, you know, watch my videos and listen to what I've been going through personally may have thought, oh my gosh, that's so terrible. That's just a terrible, challenging thing. And it was challenging, but I can't say that it was terrible, because that event of the fire that then set off a chain of events of having to move and find a different place to live and change my routine and, you know, change how I was operating day to day, actually allowed for new energies and redirections to come in. And some of those energies and redirections were needed for me to get to a particular place to where I am now. And that is ultimately a good thing, a positive thing, where there's much evolution and growth. So the same for all of you that may be experiencing something challenging. Know that the end result is going to be some positive new direction if you're open and allowing for that to happen. There's a key aspect of surrender and trust and faith that's involved with going through these eclipse energies, or, you know, any kind of significant and or seemingly challenging astrological transit to your chart. So surrender, have faith, trust, talk to your angels and guides, meditate, pray, you know, set your intentions, do a vision board, whatever it is that you need to do to stay in a balanced place of positivity, because ultimately change is good. Change is bringing us to a better place. Okay, so now again back to the fact that people have been saying it's been easy, and that there maybe hasn't been a whole lot happening because of the eclipse. So, you know, here we've had a lot of hype about the eclipse, the blue moon, the super moon, and it's going to be so powerful. And a lot of you are saying, well, I didn't really see anything or experience anything, you know, personally or even in my immediate surroundings. So why? You know, why did that happen? It's because the eclipse energies are going to last for some weeks and really even some months. The eclipse energies that are associated with full and new moons are so powerful that they're activating things until at least the next set of eclipses, okay? And that's one perspective. There's other perspectives, but you know, in astrology, one perspective is that those eclipse energies are going to be unfolding events, redirecting events. You're going to be going through death and rebirth experiences through the weeks coming until the next set of eclipses. And when are the next set of eclipses? July and August. You may have heard me mention that in either January or February's monthly angel card reading video, which is posted on my YouTube channel under Colleen Lemma if you want to view that if you haven't already. So now let's go back to Mars and the North Node and where they are at right now. Okay, the eclipse happened at 11 degrees of Leo. The North Node was very close by to that eclipse at 14 degrees Leo. Mars right now is in Sagittarius, another fire sign, which makes a positive connection to Leo because Sagittarius and Leo are both fire energies, fire signs. That means when Mars comes along and connects with 11 degrees of Sagittarius, it's going to positively set off that 11 degree of Leo lunar eclipse point. So when does that happen? That actually happens not too far away from now. It happens around February 13th, 14th, and 15th. This is right before the new moon solar eclipse at 27 degrees of Aquarius, which is in the middle of the month, February 15th, I believe it is, 14th or 15th, probably depending on where you are in the world. So Mars is an activator planet. Mars is about energy and action, and it activates things. So when Mars reaches that 11 degree point of Sagittarius, it's going to activate the eclipse degree at 11 degrees of Leo, and there's probably most assuredly going to be some sort of events or some sort of movement or unfolding of energies around that time for you. The second time period is when the North Node again travels backwards as its normal motion is and reaches 11 degrees of Leo and activates that eclipse point. And when is that going to be? That's going to be in April. I believe it's around mid-April as well, just I think around the 17th of April. And there's going to be another activation around towards the end of June, and I believe that is when, I think that's when Mars is potentially, yes. Mars is very close to the opposition to that lunar eclipse point. Mars is going to go all the way up towards the end of June to 9 degrees of Aquarius, which is the opposite sign of Leo. So as it reaches that 9 degree of Aquarius, just shy, 2 degrees shy of reaching that eclipse point of 11 degrees Leo, it's going to start to initiate or activate some sort of energies. But then Mars is going to go retrograde and retrograde back into the earlier degrees of Aquarius. And it won't be until later on in the year when Mars goes forward again. And if I'm recalling correctly, I believe that's going to be in October because it's going to retrograde all the way back into some late degrees of Capricorn. And then by the time it slows down and moves forward, it's a little bit of a slower moving planet than, say, Mercury when it goes retrograde. So I believe it's mid-October that Mars will finally then reach that 11 degrees of Aquarius and oppose that 11 degrees of Leo eclipse point. So again, we have another activation. In the meantime, we'll have eclipses that will also occur in July and August. So, you know, we have eclipses, you know, often. It's not unheard of to have new moon or full moon eclipses. But the fact, again, that this was a total eclipse on January 31st makes it much more powerful. And all of that other blue moon, supermoon on top of it, and the fact that it was very close to the North Node, which is the destiny point, makes that a much more powerful eclipse. Okay, so I think that's about all I want to update you on. So just again, surrender, have faith, allow, be receptive to some of the changes and redirections that are going on in your life. And this is also, again, happening on the collective level. We can't forget that. There's a lot of things happening as a humanity, as a people, on the collective, within governments, within countries, as well that are, that trickle down and affect us as well. So there's an evolution and growth happening on the planet for Gaia. There's an evolution and growth for humanity, and there's an evolution and growth for us as individuals on our own individual soul path. So I think that's all I want to say in this Soul Reflections video, but now to provide you with a little bit of an update, my update, for those of you that want to hear that. Again, the fire that occurred was actually a blessed event, even though that sounds strange to say, because it forced me out of routines. It had me looking for a different place to live. And although I didn't really unpack any of that because I realized that it was a temporary place that I was going to be living, it opened me up to connect with other people or reach out to other people in such a way that I probably wouldn't have done if the fire didn't happen, and I would have stayed living and operating in the same way in my old place, in my old space. So the few months that I've spent here, again, has changed my routine enough that allowed me to connect with other people, other energies, other possibilities. And a lot of you know that my dear and beloved cat, Gemini, my 17-and-a-half-year companion, transitioned just about 3 days before I took a trip that was actually pre-scheduled 6 weeks prior to Oregon to check out the area, network with some people, and decide if I felt like that was eventually going to be the place where I might be able to relocate. So again, with Gemini's transitioning just before my leaving, it opened me up to feel, in a different way, a lot more free than if I, would have left her in the care of someone else while I was gone, because that was a real struggle for me, is, leaving her in the space that she was in, but at the same time knowing that I needed to continue moving forward in my life. So she decided to transition, and that allowed me to, I guess, have a different, more freeing experience while I was out in Oregon. It went really well. The people are lovely, the weather is lovely, the mountains are beautiful, and everything about that experience was very positive for me. And so upon returning, which was only about a week or so ago, my coming back to Michigan, it's again, these eclipse energies have speeded up the unfolding of events, as now I am, again, with Gemini's transition, being free to be able to start the process of finding someone to take over my current lease, which is until the end of June, and to, I was going to say pack, but really everything is still pretty much packed, so there's only the few things that I was operating with that need to be now repacked, maybe a little purging, finding a way to move the things as I get ready for a new adventure and moving across the country to Oregon. So part of it is still under divine timing. I'd say anywhere between this month of February and the end of June, when the lease is up, I will be transitioning and moving out to Oregon to start a new life and a new adventure, which I'm very excited about. I feel like it might be sooner than the end of June, as things are already starting to unfold with this lunar eclipse energy and people potentially wanting to look at my place and take over the lease, which is definitely going to free me up to move a lot sooner. So we'll see how it all goes. Again, thank you to all of you that have sent your positive prayers, your loving energy, your support, your positive comments to me on YouTube and Facebook. In support of my journey. You are a part of this process for me as well. As we know, thoughts create reality, and when someone prays for you, or someone puts out positive intentions for you, or feels joy and happiness and excitement for you, that supports you and your process and your energy. So all of you out there are supporting my process and supporting the movement of this energy with your positive thoughts and love and intentions and your joy and your happiness and your excitement for me. Again, that's really moving the energy, and I really appreciate and am grateful and thankful for each and every one of you that are supporting me in whatever way you're supporting me. So thank you so much. I send you all much love and light during this eclipse season. Again, that new moon solar eclipse on February 15th, time of new beginnings. So between now and February 15th, it's like release, let go, surrender, allow. And after February 15th, we can maybe start to take more actions, although it doesn't mean you can't take actions now, but it'll really be a time of, you know, setting those new intentions and looking to those new goals and what you want to unfold in your life. So I send you all many blessings of love and light, many, many angel blessings. Namaste.